Hi everyone, I'm Mila. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and today I want to talk about all the different causes of diabetes for type 1 and type 2. So let's get into the video. So this is the first and what I'm hoping to make a series of videos about. I want to make a whole all about diabetes playlist, and hopefully this will be the first video on that one. So the videos will include this one, which is what causes diabetes, to what the different symptoms are, to what the different treatment options are, the different things that happen biologically in the body to cause diabetes, which will be in a later video. Definitely not this one. This one's more like a lit review or a literature review type of thing, not a I'm going to teach you biology, because I'm not a biology professor. And just a bunch of different stuff all about what diabetes is and what's going on with it, because it's weird. I guess I should really answer, what is diabetes first? And also, why are there two types? For most diseases, there's just asthma. It's not asthma, type 1 asthma. That's not really the thing. Like, people say, oh, I have exercise induced asthma or whatever. But that's like a branch of the same disease, same sort of causes, that kind of thing. Diabetes is a little bit different. So, diabetes is the disease in which your body doesn't make or doesn't use insulin properly. There are two types because that is a two-pronged definition. Diabetes or type 1 is where your body doesn't make insulin, and type 2 is where your body doesn't use insulin. Those are the two differences there. Why is insulin really important? It just kind of is a thing in your body, right? It is a thing in your body, but it's really important actually. Insulin's important because it's what lets cells accept sugar into them. Usually there's always a membrane around cells in your body, and the membrane around the cell won't let sugar into it, even though cells need to let sugar in so that they can have energy to do the things they need to do. Bodies are weird. We just gotta flow with it. So insulin's the thing that lets your cell accept sugar into it. It's kind of like you opening your door to your house before you can go inside. That's kind of the thing. That's like a nice little way to think about it. So this is going to be the little section about type 1 diabetes specifically. And specifically type 1 because type 1 and type 2 have different causes, interestingly enough. So the exact cause of type 1 diabetes is unknown. But there are several biological reasons that are being proposed in current scientific literature. And currently, there are actually some studies going on to see if they can narrow down exactly what the causes are and see if they can find some preventative measures for them, which I think is super cool. So one thought of a cause of type 1 is that it's an autoimmune disease. Normally, you have an immune system in your body that will attack invading cells, viruses, anything that's really a pathogen, and kill those things so that you don't get sick. However, sometimes the immune system goes a little bit rogue and it can attack healthy cells. So in some cases of asthma, for example, your immune system will attack your cells in your lungs, and it'll make it really hard for you to breathe because those cells are being killed a lot. And not because they're bad, your body just sees them as being invading cells. So in type 1 diabetes, what happens is there are specific cells in your body that make insulin. Not every single cell makes it. Those cells are located in your pancreas, and those cells, interestingly enough, can be killed by your immune system. They're called beta cells. They're just kind of hanging out in your pancreas, and your immune system can kill them. So this, Da, 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 da. This can happen for months or even years before symptoms show up, which is really, really weird. Normally, if you have a disease, symptoms show up pretty early, not months or years after it starts to be a thing that you need to be worried about, which I think is kind of interesting. Another potential explanation as to why people get type 1 is that some people will have genes more likely. I'm getting tongue-tied. So another thought process as to why some people get diabetes, or type 1 diabetes specifically, is that there are genes that will make them more likely to have type 1 diabetes. Not at all like you have the gene for brown hair. You have brown hair, more you have this gene that could indicate that you're more at risk for having type 1. So another really weird potential cause of type 1 is that people can just develop it after they've been exposed to something in their environment. And typically, from what I've read, this thing that they're exposed to is a virus, interestingly enough. So viruses are really cool. They are scary, first of all. They are little more than some DNA, some protein, and sometimes a cell membrane, but they're not cells, and some scientists don't class them as living. There's a big debate about that. If you're interested, go look it up. Although they really cover that in a lot of science classes, so you probably already know about it. So the thought process is this virus gets into your cells, infects them, and makes them no longer able to produce insulin properly, which is just wild. My body could have just been, happy, normal self. Ooh, sorry, my legs are falling asleep. I like to sit on the floor, but sometimes the floor does not like me to sit on it. Sometimes, yeah. Your body can just get infected with this thing that makes you not able to produce insulin anymore, which is wild. Just really, really wild. So that's the little end of the causes of type 1. Again, it's not really known. People are trying to pinpoint it, but we don't really know yet. This will be the little section on type 2 diabetes. Generally, type 2 is caused by diet and lifestyle factors as well as genetics. Levels of physical, low levels of physical activity and being overweight or obese can contribute to insulin resistance, which is where your body doesn't use insulin. The location of where fat is on your body can also play a role. I couldn't find an example of where are the bad places to have fat and where the good places I guess. But my assumption would be, from knowing what I know about biology, my lunch is saying hello, is that fat around your midsection can make it a little harder for your body to produce insulin well and all that kind of stuff. Although this could be wrong. That was just an assumption. I hit my phone. So, as I mentioned, genetics can also play a role in type 2, and that makes some people more likely to develop type 2 later in life. It does tend to run in families when it is genetic. So I'm going to list out a bunch of racial and ethnic groups, and if your family is from one of those, check in with your family, see if people have had type 2, see if it could be running in the family or not. Just a heads up, these groups are more at risk. African Americans, Alaska Natives, American Indians, Asian Americans, Hispanics and Latinos, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Those group names were given by the National Institute of Health, and they didn't give any clarification on those. Also, the National Institute of Health is based in the States, which is why those are all really United States centric. So this is not like a global list of people who are potentially more at risk for type 2. So yeah, keep that in mind. I am scrolling. All right, so those are I just stumbled all over my words. Okay, so those are the different causes of type 1 and type 2 diabetes. As you can tell, they are inherently pretty different diseases, but they can cause some similar symptoms. In the next video, I will be discussing those symptoms for type 1 and type 2. I hope to see you at that video. So if you want to see that video, please subscribe. Please comment down below like what you thought of this video. This was like the first like more biology research video I've had to do, so please like let me know. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about diabetes from a patient perspective, please subscribe. As always, I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Stay healthy. Bye.